Welcome to step number 4 along the practical path, a podcast for personal and spiritual growth. Along the journey today, expect to discover why laughter really is the best medicine. Making choices about how we think and feel about life's challenges, and traffic light meditations. Now, let's get started on today's practical path. Hello and welcome. This is The Practical Path, a podcast for personal and spiritual growth. I'm Bill Skolodowski. That's Vicki Wagoner over there. I know you can't see her. I just say that all the time. It's like
I'll just say good morning.
Introducing people. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you.
You were sitting down in the chair there as we were getting ready for this, and I saw your arm is still in the sling there from your work on rebuilding your shoulder. That thing looks more complicated than I thought it was. It looks like it's got all kinds of bells and whistles on it there for adjusting how it holds you.
It's just got two straps, one that goes over my shoulder and then one that goes over my waist. So it's not bad. And it's got a big pad in the middle where my arm is. Between my arm and my chest, there's a big pad that keeps it in place where it's, like a right angle, I guess you'd call it. So
no pickleball for you.
No pickleball for a while.
No. So how goes the recovery? How's that working for you?
It's going good. It's slow, but it's going good. I see the doctor on Thursday. Fingers crossed. I'm going to cross my toes too, that I get out of this thing. So maybe.
So that's a possibility this week.
I'm hoping. That's what the guy from PT said yesterday. He goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "You should be out of it this week." So I'm going to hold him to the feet to the fire on that one. I want to get out of it.
You'll hold his feet to the fire, but only with one hand. So
with one hand,
only with one arm. Yeah. Darn it. So there you go.
You're right.
Any pain on that, or how does that go for you? When you do the physical therapy, what is that? You get some movement going there and all that?
Oh yeah. Yesterday was brutal. He was actually one of the directors, and the other ones, I guess, were on conference or something. And it was a little brutal, but it's what he needed to do. So, I just kind of went with it. But there are a few moments when I'm going, "Oh dear God, I'm ready to kill him." But I'm like, "Oh, no, he was very good. It was good."
Right. I've had my share of massage work in my life, and there are times where they find that one spot and you go, and I'm like, because I'm a baby with that, I really am, and they're like, "Are you in pain?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm in pain, but keep going, because I know it has to be done." So it's one of those things that it's like, bite a bullet or whatever, old Western style there, and just keep, pressing forward and making things happen. That's brutal. Wow. Okay. Well, good luck to you. And we wish you nothing but the best. You know that, of course.
You.
And we look forward to seeing you being able to use both hands someday soon. So
soon.
I used to have one of my favorite get well cards for people had a dog on. I know you have a dog. I know you have Mr. Max there. He's awesome. So, but I used to have a box of get well cards when I would send out, and it had a dog on the front. And all it said when you open the card was, "May your nose be cold and wet again soon." Because dogs, when they're healthy, have wet noses. And when they're not healthy, they have dry noses.
Like Yep.
Doesn't matter. Well, see, we're having fun with it and we're laughing. And I thought I might talk a little bit about the whole, and I know we touched on this last week, so I thought maybe we'd dig a little deeper into laughter is the best medicine.
It is.
But why? And I don't know that we'll figure out the how of it. We're not doctors or neuroscientists, but the basics of it, I think, are worth it, because it really is. They always say a cliche wouldn't be a cliche unless it were true in part.
Yeah.
So laughter is the best medicine. Tell me a little bit. Unpack that, as they say on TV, a little bit. What does that mean? Yeah, unpack that. What does that mean for you? We know what it means.
Right.
Why is that?
For me to laugh, it's a distraction from what is really going on. The reality of I'm very limited. It's my right
Uh-huh.
arm. I'm right-handed. It gets very frustrating. You would love to see me eat pasta the other night when we had company. That was a lot of fun, twirling with my left hand and it's falling all over the place, but it gets frustrating and I'm not going to say depressed, but I get down often because I love
Mhm.
to be busy. I love to create. Every day I create something and I can't. So Rick is really great. My husband, Rick, is really great at cracking jokes and making me laugh. So to me, I don't know for others, but for me, it's a distraction of the reality of being limited. I can always laugh and I can
Right.
always find joy in something. So I
Right.
see it as it's healthy and it's almost like medicine, so to speak, because it lifts me out of that funk of feeling limited and, you know, incapable of taking care of myself, So he'll make jokes and, his favorite thing is, it's a little personal, but he goes, I love putting on your underwear. And so just a
Okay.
thing that makes me laugh, like, okay, how many people enjoy putting on somebody else's underwear? So
Honestly, I don't think I've ever had that experience in my life, and I think that's okay. So yeah.
so here I am, instead of being frustrated trying to go, how am I going to get this on with one hand? He goes, I'll do it.
Right.
I'm not putting on your underwear. So I just burst out
Oh, okay.
laughing because it just, it's he's a
See,
goofball
and you
anyway.
feel
He's wonderful.
better, and and there is something, I don't know, neurological, spiritual, whatever, in there about, that when you are laughing about, I mean, it's not just the distraction thing works. It absolutely does.
Yes.
But there's actually some like science to it somewhere. I mean, there's a very, I don't know if it's popular or well-known story or whatever, of people that have cured themselves of like diseases of like
Yeah.
the big C. I hate to say the cancer. I hate to say that
I
out
know.
loud, but there are people that have cured themselves of that because of, they watched sitcoms every waking hour or something like that. I mean, it was in the movie business. Somebody did that who was like a movie
Yeah.
director or something, and he knew that about laugh. He didn't know about it, but he knew that he felt better when he was laughing and all of. But
Right.
it's hard time.
Right.
It's hard not to feel better when you're laughing. It's hard to still be depressed or whatever while you're laughing. They
Well,
don't they don't go together. You can't do both.
right.
So there must be something going on in your body, in your mind, in your whatever, that when there's that release of emotion in that happy, laughing, whatever way, that there's something going on in there that's like actually doing some good things for physically for your
Right.
body in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's firing off something like, I'm not a scientist, but like your neurons or whatever they're
Right.
called, that fire
Right.
it off. And it's also about being positive. So, when you think about it, when you're positive, that energy goes out. Well, what comes back is more positive. So
Exactly.
laughing is positive, laughing is fun, and it, again, I'm not a scientist, but must raise some levels in your body and in your mind so that, it lightens everything up. So,
Well, and again, we're kind of here at the intersection of the actual hard science stuff and then actually what feels good and works well and,
right.
seems to connect you to whatever you perceive to be the higher power or better feeling or whatever. And,
Mhm.
with everything, because we've talked about, I know that we have talked about in the past about how you choose to feel about something, how
Yeah.
you can decide how you feel about something. And if we haven't talked about that, maybe it's something we need to touch on even more. But you always, well, let's rewind a little bit. Back up. I'll do that for us now, because I know that we've mentioned in the past about one of our suggested books on this is Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. You Can
Oh,
Heal
yeah.
Your Life? Is that right? Yeah, I
Yes.
misquoted the
Heal your
title a
life.
few episodes ago. You Can Heal Your Life. If you
Mhm.
find it in a bookstore at a garage sale, just
Yeah.
buy it. If it's $1, if it's $2, whatever, just buy it, because the
Yep.
book's been out there for 50 plus years and it's been translated into every language and it is super popular. And I think that kind of is part of the foundation of what we're talking about in terms of her point, our point, because
Mhm.
we like what she wrote, and we're talking
Yes.
about Louise Hay. We like what she wrote in that what she wrote was, you always have the, what do we call it, God-given right? I don't know how we would choose to phrase it. You always have the option,
That's a good one.
whatever, however you see it. You always have the option to pick and choose how you feel about stuff.
Oh,
Right? I
absolutely.
mean, am I getting that right?
Oh,
I'm talking too
absolutely.
much here. Tell me a little bit about what you think about what she, the basis of her work, and what that means for us.
Well, I know I use this a lot, but seeing things from a different perspective, from a higher
Right.
perspective.
Right.
Also, I say this a lot, is finding the gift in it. So when we're focusing again on the positive and looking at how can this affect me, I can use it, to, empower me to change my perspective, to move forward, to, bring more of the good energy in, or I can look at it and just go, well, that's the way it is. I'm going to live with it. So it's
Right.
an option. And like I was saying before, it's my option is to look at the positive, to find the good in it, to be inspired to, inspire other people. And that's why I
Right.
love her work is, okay, things happen to us. Well, we have the option to change it, change our perspective on it, to look at it from that higher vision.
Right. Right. You can't, at least not yet. We're not at the point where we can alter the real things that happen to us in life. Some things are going to happen.
Some things
You're
are
going to
big.
have that soldier. You're going to have that shoulder surgery.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you needed it. You decided to do it. It was
Mhm.
not the most fun thing ever,
No.
and now you're going through the rehabilitation process of it. You still get to make a decision about what does this mean for me, and how do I respond to it, and all of that. And
Mhm. Yeah.
we were talking before we started recording this about other things happening, to other, I've got a little something going on with my one eye here and stuff like that.
Yes.
Do I like go, oh my God, it's the end of the world, I'm going blind? Or do I just think, oh, okay, I guess I need to take a look at that, and it'll be fun. I'm not
Yeah.
saying, well, what am I saying at that? I'm not making up stuff about it. I'm not saying that something that happened that was a negative in my life. I was in a
Right.
car accident. Oh, that was great. No, it sucked. It totally, it
Yeah.
was
No.
totally awful. But I guess then it's not the thing itself, it's the what I think about the thing. How's
Right.
that? How's
Yeah,
that?
it's our reaction to it, and our choice. Do we
Right.
make the choice of, oh, this is the worst thing that's happened in my life, or the choice of, well, I took action, I'm being proactive, I'm following through, doing the PT, so I feel good about that because I'm taking action on it and I'm turning it into a positive because
Right.
I'll have an arm that I can use again because it got to the point before the operation, it was so painful. Lots of times I couldn't use my arm.
Right. Right.
So,
And so how about other things with other people in their lives, loss of a loved one, or
mhm,
loss of a job, or loss of whatever. I mean, loss
right.
is the big
Loss
one.
is,
We
yeah,
lose
loss is
friends, we lose
big.
family, we lose pets, we lose jobs, we lose things that we value and that we think are important to us.
Yeah,
How do we again make choices about how we're going to feel about that in a way that supports us and moves us
right.
forward, rather than getting us stuck in the crap of it?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I think at any loss, it's important that you grieve it, you
Right.
allow yourself to grieve it, to, feel it. And then at some point, you got to make a choice of how long am I going to stay in this position with that person or that event want me to stay in this, kind of like you kind of get in a pit. I've had a lot of loss in my life, and you stay in this pit,
Mhm.
and then one day you got to go, do I want to stay in this or do I want to make a different choice? And I'm thankful
Mhm.
that I had that time with that person, or I had that time, with whatever was going on, and now I'm ready to move forward. Because
Right.
I think staying in the mud, so to speak, all you do is you just sink lower and lower and lower, and you're missing out on so much good that is in the world, people, events, opportunities.
Right.
So I do agree, like I said before, I do agree you need to grieve it. Yet at what point can you say, well, enough is enough and I've got to move forward? If that makes
And
sense.
that's going to be right. And that's going to be different for everybody. I mean, there's
Oh, yeah.
no, there's no checklist to say, okay, you lost
Oh,
your parents or you lost your mother.
yeah.
That gives you 17.5 days of grief. You lost
No,
a job that only gives you 6.4 days of, whatever.
right.
So obviously it's going to be different for different people, as long
Definitely.
as we recognize that it is a finite thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you
Right.
tell me what you think.
I feel because I've lost both my parents. I
Right,
lost a daughter. The pain never goes away. It's just you learn how to deal with it. And if
right,
it comes up, I allow it. I express it just a couple days ago. Rick and I were 5.5 months pregnant, and Kelsey decided she needed to leave. And that was, almost 40 years ago. And
right.
the other day, I just thought of her and I started crying.
Hmm.
And so I just allowed it. And I thanked her for the time that I did have her. And I said, okay, I've got a family, I've got myself, I got to keep moving forward. So I feel the grief never fully goes away. Like my grandma's been gone for a long time, but I miss her every day because she was my
Right,
angel. And,
right,
but yet I was so thankful to have her that she could give
right.
me the foundation that I needed that no one else could, was around to, to be supportive in that way. Yet, I knew that she just needed to, move on when it was her time. So it's okay to keep, to have that grief, but how long do you want to stay in it is what is really important. You
It's
gotta
interesting that,
know that
yeah,
they
yeah.
want you to keep moving forward.
Couple of interesting points there in that you still had a moment, as they say, you
Hmm.
still had a moment over the loss of a pregnancy of what would be your daughter,
Hmm.
40 some years ago.
Hmm.
How, and I don't mean to pry, but how did that even come up for you? Do you remember how that even popped into your head, and how that came
I
to you?
the other day I was just
Yeah.
washing dishes and all of a sudden she just popped into my mind and I just teared up and I
Wow.
cried for a few minutes. And, I told her, I love you and I know you're always with us. And, I'm grateful for, the time that we had together. And and probably lasted about 10 minutes. And I said, well,
That's yeah.
I know that you're still with me.
That's so interesting that would come back to you after all that time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I remember I lived and took care of my mother for the last couple of years of her life before she
Yeah.
went into her last, nursing home kind of a thing.
Right.
And she had lost everybody in her life. I mean, my mother was the last. I'm the last. I shouldn't say obviously I'm here,
Oh,
but so
right.
I'm the last. But before me, when my mother was around, she had lost her son, my younger brother, her
Yes.
husband, her three sisters,
Oh
her
my
mother, obviously. I mean, she had
God.
lost everybody.
Right.
And honestly, I mean, she and I had some discussions about that. And I was always frustrated in that. And I didn't ask her to see any greater good or any positive side of it or anything well, maybe I did, but she could not let go of that. She could
Mm-hmm.
not let go of losing her husband and losing her son,
Mm-hmm.
and what the coulda, woulda, shoulda part of
Mm-hmm.
it. We always
Yes.
talk about, we don't always, but I mean, lots of people talk about what they should have done, what they could have done, what they would have done if they'd have known better. Well,
Right.
yeah, but at the time, and this is a Vicki Wagoner, so feel free to jump in on my own quote of you do the best you can with what you got
Mm-hmm.
where you're at, which is also, I think, Teddy Roosevelt. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
some people, bottom line is, some folks can't, won't, don't find their way out of that. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
my mother was miserable for the final years of her life each and every day because of the coulda, woulda, shouldas.
Yeah.
And that was painful for me to watch, but at the same time I
Yes.
knew it was her journey and what she was going through. So it's like,
Mhm.
we could talk about it a little bit, Mom, but there was no consoling her or convincing her about that.
Yeah.
So as we said, some people are just, they don't see that bigger picture. They don't get that 40,000 foot view.
Right.
And again, to come back to my original point, that it's still your choice, isn't it? It's still, because we're here.
Yes.
You and I are here to tell people that you have a choice. You have options in that.
Yes. Yeah. And you've got to consider also, or I feel I did, there's other people in my life, that are still here. And so looking at, if I stayed in that grief, I'm missing out on them, and I'm projecting that grief onto them, whatever they do with it. But, it's still, I had to look at the bigger picture of, I'm here right now. This is what I've got. I've got to move forward from this moment right here. Like I said, I allowed that moment, but then I had to go, I have to keep moving forward. And some people can move forward, some can't. Bless your mom's heart. She just got stuck. And, it's very sad because there's so much more. She had you, you were still there. And, she probably had, people in, the community where she was. And so
yes,
when you get stuck in that, like a little time capsule where you just get stuck in time, you're losing out on so much, and others are losing out too.
Right.
So
right. And we've mentioned that but it bears repeating that if you're doing that, you are, some people call it's like time travel in a bad way. It's you're either focusing on something that happened in the past, and it's affecting you now. So it's robbing you of this moment, of whatever's going around. Like you're focused on something in the past that happened that you're still dragging with you, or you're looking ahead to some uncertain and possibly bad future, because your brain works that way. Your brain works in terms of the bad part, and not, it tends to focus on that. So yeah, it's, and all of that is sucking life out of this particular moment that you have right now, because this is the only one you got. This moment is all you got.
Good point. Yes, because this is it. So dragging your past with you, how much weight are you carrying? Energetic weight are you carrying? And you're so focused on carrying it, you're missing out on all that is right in front of you, being in the moment, enjoying things that are right here. And I feel that's just part of every time we reincarnate, we learn lessons and we grow and we evolve. So, that maybe that's where your mother felt in this lifetime, where she needed to be, which is sad, yet maybe that's what she needed to experience.
Right. And we go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, and yet what did that do for you? How did that affect you?
Well, I want to believe, and I choose to believe, that it did turn on the light bulb, like we've talked about, of going, oh, I don't have to think that way. I don't have to live that way. I can continue my life and enjoy the things in my life, and don't have to, drag that emotional baggage around with me. So it's interesting. So yes, you're right. There was that lesson, that learning, that whatever in there for of course there is for everybody, right? I mean, there's anything that you're putting out into the world is somebody else might notice, even if you just pass them on the street, or you're in line behind them at McDonald's or something like that. Nobody's in line at McDonald's anymore, but but you're in line at the grocery store or whatever. So you're going to hear things and see things, and again, I know that I mention this on every show, and yet it seems like it's important enough to keep mentioning. We don't need. You can do whatever you want, folks. You can do whatever the hell you want out there. Yeah. I'm just letting you know.
Yes.
But maybe, just maybe, you'd like to be open to the possibility of seeing things, as Vicki says, from that other different, higher, more open perspective. You may choose, maybe that's a new term for me. Instead of saying you should do this, I would say you may choose. You may choose to have that moment of reflection, meditation, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's not like you're sitting in a lazy boy for an hour with angel music playing. You can have a moment where you're sitting at the traffic light and just thinking to yourself for 30 seconds to go, how's that working for me? I'm still feeling bad about something that happened 30 years ago or 20 years ago. Do I still want, because my point was, it all comes down to that moment of realization.
Yes.
And that I hope people can be open to having a moment of realization to go, this ain't working out for me anymore. Maybe I could do something different.
Yes. I call it the light bulb moment. You know, when you walk into a dark room and you flick the light on, it's like everything gets illuminated. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what's in here. You know? So yeah, because life, you know, goes by really, really fast. And as you get older, I'm not going to, okay, at 71, things are going a lot faster. And I want to be still that kid at heart. I tell everybody, you know, I'm like 71, but it's like I'm 12, you know, because, oh, there's a rock. Oh my God, look at the stars. You know?
And that's
so
fine.
I want to keep that freshness of being that child, that because children are open to everything and they're so curious about everything. And I love that feeling of, oh, excuse me, oh, look at this, you know, or look at that, you know, that excitement, that newness, and just being, you know, positive. Here we are talking about being positive and being open to all these wonderful opportunities that are out there. So if I'm carrying all this baggage, I'm so focused on dragging this behind me, I'm not open to all these wonderful, you know, bright opportunities. So, and for a long time, you know, I carried a lot of baggage. And then, you know, I started working with someone, I told you, the hypnotherapist, and all of a sudden looking at, this is somebody else's stuff that I've been carrying around for years. So I'm dumping it. I'm thanking it for what I learned from it. I'm going to take the gifts from it and I'm going to put my sneakers on and I'm going to start running and enjoying my life. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it one of my favorite movies, but there was a great old movie out there with Keanu Reeves and say hello to my little friend. Who was that? That was Scarface. Who was that? Al Pacino. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino in a movie called The Devil's Advocate.
Oh my!
They were lawyers, and the one lawyer actually was the devil. So go figure. But it was an interesting, cute, cool movie. I wouldn't highly recommend it, but there is one scene where the senior lawyer, Al Pacino, is talking to the young lawyer, Keanu Reeves, and he has this moment of like, he's just, guilt. What the hell is it? It's a bag of bricks. Put it effing down. And it's just, but that's that moment, like you said, where you just realize, I've been carrying this stuff, to use the right word. I've been carrying this stuff around with me for a year, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, whatever. I mean, no judgment. You've been carrying it around. Again, in the immortal words of Dr. Phil, how's that working for you?
Yes.
Maybe you want to try something different. Maybe you want to have a little bit more lightness in your life. And I don't mean bright, like turn the light on. I mean, just physically light. That's a weight off my shoulders, off my back, off whatever. And we do that to ourselves with so many things. I think that's my point. We do it because we think we know better, or we think that somebody has told us something that we need to live by, or whatever. And we've made the decision. Here's the bottom line before our break. We've made that, by we, I mean, I have made the decision that thing that I was told or learned or went through in second grade class is important and words to live by. And in 50 years, there's been no reflection on that to go, is this really working for me? And now maybe I want to think about it again and think about it differently.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just
saying. And that's where, the lightness and the laughter comes in, is here we are, it's ready to dump the garbage. And what are we doing? We're laughing. You and I are laughing about this,
right.
Why are we carrying, excuse me, but why are we carrying this shit around?
That's it. That's
really,
to me, that's the big thing. Why? And I think our own ego gets in the way, or, like you mentioned, the kid, as a young kid, whatever age, they're interested, they're curious, they're engaged in what's happening in front of them right now.
Yes.
And I don't know why that is. I suspect it's because they just haven't had the curiosity beaten out of them by life.
Yes.
And at some point, somewhere, we turn into, quote unquote, I'm doing my air quotes, we turn into adults, and we think, oh, I have to put that stuff down now. I have to leave that stuff behind now because there's real life. There's a job and a career and a family and a car payment and a dishwasher that doesn't work and all of that, And I guess the question then becomes, can you do both? Can you and how does that work? And I'm going to let you think about that, because we've come to our break here. So I'm going to take a 2-minute break, not even 2 minutes. I'm going to take a quick break. Let's go refill our coffee, ladies and gentlemen, and come back and figure this all out.
Sounds good.
So we will be right back. Welcome back. I'm Bill. That's Vicki. And this is The Practical Path, a podcast for personal and spiritual growth. And on the break, I went over to our friend, Mr. Google. Google now has integrated that AI thing into everything. So when you type a search in, it tries to answer it before it even gives you like, oh, go look here, go look there. I just put in, why is laughter the best medicine? And Google came back with its AI answer, which I think is a good one. Laughter is often called the best medicine because it has many health benefits, including physical, of course. Laughter relaxes muscles, increases heart rate, improves oxygen consumption and uptake. Psychological, laughter can improve depression, anxiety, and stress, can help people recover from illness more quickly. We talked about that. Immune system, laughter increases infection fighting antibodies and decreases stress hormones, which can improve resistance to disease. Laughter may raise pain thresholds, and laughter may help lower blood pressure, among other benefits. Awesome.
That's
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, very cool.
Sounds like
it's something like,
yeah.
I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. I'm not either, but that all sounds, whatever that is, I want that. That all sounds good.
I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to do more laughing.
Do more of that. Do more of that.
When you think when you're a kid, kids don't have the worries that adults have. And when I get
to stop right there, because that's important. What you said, when you're a kid, you don't have the worries that adults have.
Right.
Why do we? And I'm not saying that kids should worry, because they're great as they are. They're fabulous. It's us when we get to be adults that we take on all of this, like you said, shit. Yeah. And we worry about stuff. And is there, I mean, if I'm one of those adults, if I'm that guy at the party, I'm going to say, well, I have to worry about it because, it's my job. It's not my job to worry, but I have a job and I have a family and I have a dog and I have a house payment and a car payment and I have to worry about that. Do I have to worry about that stuff?
It's a choice.
I would say that again.
It's a choice. A choice.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can choose to worry about it or take action on it.
So again, for our mythical homeowner here, or adult homeowner with family, kids, car, etc.
Right.
Does he or she choose to worry about that? Or, well, of course they do. You and I believe that, but they may argue. So let's argue with this mythical person that they're like, no, if I have to worry about that, I have to, it's like, it's my job, it's my life, I have to make sure everything's in order and everything lines up, and I keep that paycheck coming to keep my house and my dog and my car and all of that stuff. So how do we get people out of that box of worry over things that, well, they matter.
Yes,
I mean, it would sure as hell matter if you lost your job and you couldn't pay for that nice house.
Oh yeah, then I would worry.
So I guess I'm looking for I'm looking for the way that we can have a good, healthy, happy attitude about life and still and still be responsible. Is that the right word? More air quotes.
Being responsible, being mindful of what you're doing. Yeah, okay. So this is a little bit, when you put in that worry there,
Right.
Because worry is heavy. That's a heavy, and I have to be honest that, since losing, Silk Road Traveler and it burned down and not having, the income coming in, I'm retired, so I have Social Security, but I love my job. I made money at it too. So, so yeah,
I don't remember if we talked about that, but Vicki lives in a nice little touristy area up in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and she was part of she had a part-time job and sold little goodies at a gift store in town, and had been friends with the owner with that gift store for years and years and years, still is. And how long ago?
Well, doing readings.
I'm sorry?
And doing readings and, sessions with people.
Doing her readings and her card readings for people that would come in off the streets and stuff like that.
Last October.
Last October, the store burned to the ground.
Yeah.
I saw the pictures. Unbelievable.
I was in
and so you lost that job, you lost that opportunity, you lost that way of being out in the community and all of that stuff. So yes, you had, if anybody was going to have an excuse to be mad about it, miserable about it, whatever about it, you got that. And you did. I went through, I'm not gonna say I went through it with you. I heard about it on a daily basis for a while, and I heard how that really, and no judgment there. Not saying that I would be bummed out about it too. I mean, I absolutely would be bummed, it would be miserable. And so here we are 7 months later, or however many months later. Now we're up to speed for people who didn't remember or hadn't heard the story. But so now you get to decide, okay, now what? Now what's the next opportunity? And then, if I can finish the thought, but you tell me what you're thinking or feeling, is that the opportunity now is the thing to look forward to have some happiness over, to say, oh, I get to do this now, where I get some new options, new opportunities, new things that maybe I didn't have before. How am I doing with that?
Well, good, because that's a positive way of looking at it.
Right.
Right now, I'm wanting to find a shop. Unfortunately, where I live, there really isn't anything. So once I get my back in use, going online and trying to promote it more online, get busy with that. So I'm kind of in a holding pattern, yet I understand it. It was my choice to be in this holding pattern, with my arm. The fire was not my choice, but this is what I've got. So yes, I've been bummed out about that. Yet I'm looking at, okay, when my arm gets better, I've got this great guy. Oh, I don't know if you know him, Bill Sklodowski.
I thought we were talking about Rick.
He's a wonderful computer person. So I'm gonna.
That would be me. Yes, that's definitely not your husband. Yes, yeah.
My second husband. Yeah. And asking him, and of course paying him to help me get online and build a business that way. So I'm kind of throwing that at you right now. I guess that was kind of
okay. I'm writing that down. Yeah,
little future reference going off there. So I'm looking to the future, and keeping myself positive in that situation of, okay, right now I know I'm limited, yet I know I'm getting better, and each day I'm getting better, and each day I'm getting closer to creating my business again.
And that's part of it too, that you because you talked about the grieving thing.
Oh yeah.
You had grieving over loss of this job, not job. It was something you loved doing,
My
enjoyed
passion.
doing. It was a place where you enjoyed doing it and loved doing it and all that. So that was a loss. There's grief there. There's grieving
Oh,
process.
oh, absolutely.
So so you're kind of still in process with that,
Yes.
because now you've added, like you said, you've added on the fact that you had the surgery on your shoulder there, and that's in recovery process. So it's okay to be, I guess our point is that it's okay to be in process with things.
Yeah.
It's okay to recognize that I'm not at the end of this little chapter of yet,
Right.
your arm recovery, or your finding new job, your whatever, but I'm working on it. I'm going through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay
So
with
I
that.
feel like I'm
Okay.
still slowly moving forward. And it's
Right.
slow, obviously with my shoulder and with the loss of the store and everything. Yet I
Sure.
feel that I'm still moving forward. And if I have a
Right.
down day, I allow it. I'm in it. And then I go, okay, you had your moment, you had your pity party. Okay, let's keep moving forward. So that's what I feel
Right.
part of
Right.
this is.
I had a friend, I had a friend a few years ago, and that was one of her things, was like, when I would ask her about how she's doing with something or whatever, I'm processing it. I'm processing it. I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
when do you think you will have it processed? Because she hung on to the processing a long time, and
That's
it
her
would.
choice.
That's their choice. I
That's her
get it. That's
choice.
your choice. That's your choice. So I don't, and I don't know, we finished that up or not, but the child versus adult thing, somewhere there's that, and again, process. Here we go with process kind of stuff. Somewhere the child goes through a process of
Mhm.
either deciding or being told
True.
that life is not all about fun and games. You can't go out and splash around in mud puddles when you're 27, 28 years old, 40, 50 years old. So
Um,
how do we, I know, yeah, I know you're making that face like I still do that, and I
I
know
still
that.
do that.
I know. So how did you make the decision that was still okay to do? Or it doesn't have to be a specific thing. How do people of, I hate this term, our age, how do we make the decision that it's okay to still have fun with life?
That I feel it's someone's choice to look at what's available, what's out there, and there's always something new to learn, something new to see, something new to experience. I don't know. That's just me. I've always been like this. I'm always looking, for the treasures, be it stones or, stars or, oh, look at that beautiful tree. I'm like, I still am this little kid,
Right.
that's just my personality. I think there's some people that, like my brother is like a trillionaire, but he just works constantly. It's just constant work. I don't see him doing anything really fun. And it's like,
Right.
and we're siblings, and
Right.
it's like, as I always say, I'm the only child in a family of 10. It's like there's me and then there's everybody else.
Right.
I
Right.
this is just who I am. So everybody is who they need to be. So I guess it's a tough question because I don't know what it's like to just have, this tunnel vision or this, I only see one thing. I see everything and I feel
Mhm.
everything. And sometimes it's wonderful. Sometimes when I feel it, it's like, oh my God, I wish I didn't. But that's just me. So I guess I don't have the right to say, well, you all have to be this way. I
Right.
mean, I don't know if that answers the question, but it's who I am, you know.
Yeah, I don't think we were going to have a good answer to the question. I just think
Yeah.
I would I would hope that we maybe instilled the idea into folks that you're never stuck with where you're at, and you're never stuck with what you're thinking right now.
Right. Yeah.
With what you're, yeah. Because I mean, and I've read enough personal development books to know that the cliche of don't believe what your brain tells you. Don't believe what your brain tells you. It's not at the bottom line, it's not who you really are. Your brain is just the computer. Your brain is just the computer that kind of runs the show. And it does things that it thinks you need for survival.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know, I get the basics, the breathing, the eating thing. That's kind of important. I get that. But it's the belief part of it that really gets into your mind there, gets into your brain, and somehow gets hardwired. Yes. For those of you who would love to read that stuff, my favorite is Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a guy who's done 1 billion research projects on how the wiring of the brain works, and how as we continue to think the same thing over and over again, oh, my life sucks, my life is miserable, my life, that changes from just a random thought to the way you live.
Right. It just going back to worry. You know, worry. Yes. Did that person get it from their parents? Did that person get it from, you know, something that they read or experience that they had? You know, yes, we all have worry, but you got to think of, how is that, if you're worrying all the time, how much are you missing out on life? That you get into like this little capsule, and that's your whole life, and there's so much more out there.
Right.
So,
but some people don't know that. Some people don't recognize that. They think that their life is all there is.
Yeah, this is it. You know, my little cube that I'm in, you know, this is my life. Right. And so, you know, hopefully they get a wake-up call. You know, sometimes when, you know, you get smacked up the side of the head, sometimes that's exactly what you need to kind of shake you out of your uncomfortable comfort zone of, you know, I'm comfortable with this, but it's uncomfortable. So how can you challenge yourself to go, why am I worrying so much? I'm missing out on having fun, you know, like taking a day off, you know, you're not going to lose your job because you call in sick one day, even though you're not sick. You just want to go play, because play is really important. It's that balance. You know, we need the balance. Okay, yeah, we need to be responsible, but we also need to be a kid. And finding that balance of every once in a while, you know, just have fun, just run out in the woods, you know, just go play golf, you know, do something. Life is still going to be there the next day. But I feel
to me, that's you hit on something that is important, I think, and that life is going to be there life's going to be there tomorrow. It's not going anywhere. You're not, you know, whether or not you take the day off, or whether or not you you know, have pizza because it's, you know, you've been on a diet, and now I shouldn't say that, because I'm really, that's my challenge for the next couple of weeks here, is trying to be good with the diet. I don't want to give myself an excuse, is what I'm saying. But if there are things that you continue to do, and you continue to say, this just doesn't, I mean, yes, it's what I've been doing for the past 20 years, but it's not, you know, I feel like, how's life going? You know, you have that moment. It's like, maybe that's a little indicator there that you could do something different. And what that is going to be different for everybody. Not everybody wants to go out and run around in the woods, which is a wonderful thing. But, you know, I'm loving my pickleball playing this particular season of my life. And I try and do that whenever I can. So whatever it is, go to the movies, go to the park, you know, volunteer at a shelter somewhere or something, at an animal shelter, and help out or something, you know, like your husband, he's volunteering at the local little museum or something like that, where he gets to show people around, and, you know, he gets out of the house and gets some fresh air and gets to see new people and all of that sort of thing. So whatever it is for you, whatever.
So talking about being positive, you know, and having this, you know, good energy here, do something that you've always wanted to do, you know, if you've got, you know, yes, you got to, you know, provide. Yeah, you also have to provide for yourself. You also have to take care of yourselves. and we have to laugh. We have to have joy. We have to be surprised at, the things that are in the universe. That's why I say, like, I'm such a kid, because if I walk in the woods and I find, a pretty flower, or I find a rock, it's like, oh my God, it's the biggest thing that's happened to me in my life, And I have to throw this in there when I get together with my granddaughters. I go, okay, of the three of us, which is the youngest? And they roll their eyes, point their fingers at me, and walk away.
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, that's
they know
as we
grandma.
would say in as we would say in the hood, respect. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. I throw words around sometimes, and I'm like, Bill, at your age, that probably went out of style 20 years ago. But whatever. I get it. So yeah, I mean, and it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be huge. I mean, when you said, go out and do something fun or crazy or wild, I'm like, well, what if I want to go climb a mountain somewhere? I'm like, yeah, that might take a little bit of work, but maybe you could start planning for it. Maybe you could start doing some research on it, start a little scrapbook about how I'm going to, climb Mount Shasta someday or something like that.
Hey.
Just threw an idea out
and
there.
Having those dreams is being positive. Having those dreams is being empowering. If they manifest, that's wonderful. If they don't, the joy of imagining it.
Right.
And that lifts.
And that's another, that's another psychological thing, which, boy, we're getting into psychology here today, laughter and medicine and imagining that in your brain. And I've heard this. And so again, I don't know where I heard it from. So go look it up. In your mind, the thinking about the thing is the same as doing the thing.
Yes.
Because your brain's inside that skull of yours. Your brain doesn't have any access to the outside world. Your brain works on what your senses give it.
Mm-hmm.
And your brain works on what's already programmed in there. Like we said, if you have a miserable, if you think miserable thoughts, you're going to have a miserable life. If you think great thoughts, you're going to have a great life.
Right, exactly.
The things that are going on in your mind are just as real to your brain as the things that are happening in the outside world. So yeah, maybe you could, like you said, if you're planning or thinking about climbing a mountain, going on a cruise, riding your bike across Europe, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
That it's the pleasures of it, the whatever, the energy of it, maybe that's the good word. Mm-hmm. The energy of it is pretty much the same thing, whether you do it or just do it in your head.
Yes. And by even dreaming about it or thinking about it, you're escaping or leaving, maybe is a better word. You're leaving reality behind, and you're in that moment of just being with yourself, for yourself, creating, a vision for yourself. And by doing that too, it's going to manifest. You could manifest it even by just dreaming it or writing about it or, sitting on the deck and, visualizing it. So you have to give yourself those moments of just being with yourself, for yourself, because that's positive. That's being supportive. That's, being with yourself and respecting yourself and loving yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am writing that down. I literally am writing that down because you just said two words, which were respecting yourself.
Yes.
And I think that deserves its entire own show, or at least a bigger, a deeper dive into that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. We're kind of coming down to the end of this one, but I'm going to add that to our list of things to talk about, because really it kind of comes from that thing that started all of this, is like when you're a kid, all your views, I don't know if opinion is the right word, your information on how the world works usually comes from outside sources.
Absolutely.
Your parents, your teachers, your friends, whatever, they're all telling you what's going on in the world. Right. Of course, they're telling you what's going on based on their opinion, but never mind. That's another thing for another day. Well, yeah. And so all of that gets programmed into your young brain, and you end up living, I think Tony Robbins says that. I don't know if it was original to Tony Robbins, but you are the average of the 5 people that you are closest to. You're just the average of those 5 people. Mm-hmm. So choose wisely, choose your friends wisely.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's So when you're a kid, you're getting all of that, and you don't have the, what's the word, filter, discretion, whatever, to say, oh, dad told me this thing about life, but he was totally wrong.
Right. Yeah. Well, because we're little, we look up to these great big people and we go, oh, well, they're big. They know everything. Well, guess what? They had a kid in them that learned from another adult that had a kid in them, and it goes back and back and back.
Right.
So at some point, you got to stop and go, is this my story, or am I still buying into somebody else's story that they told me?
Right. And I think I'll finish on this because we're coming down to the end here. And so think about this one. Think about in your life, folks, in your life, to our friends and listeners out there. Mm-hmm. How is your life? Where are you doing this in your life? And it's a story comes out every Thanksgiving, and the young wife and husband and young family are preparing the meal for Thanksgiving, and they bought a big turkey and they're going to prepare it. And mom cuts the big drumsticks off the end of the bird, and she puts them in the pan separately to cook them that way. And the husband says, why are you doing that? And she goes, I don't know. My mom always did it that way. That's the way I do it. Okay. Yeah. Mom comes over and for dinner, for the family dinner. And the husband says, my wife cut the big drumsticks off the turkey, put them in the oven separately, and, cooked it that way. And she said, you did it that way. How come? And of course, mom says, well, my mother, your grandmother, told me, did it that way. So grandma's still alive, and they call up grandma and they say, Grandma, we're all cutting the drumsticks off the big turkey and putting it in the oven. And when we cook it, and they say that's started with you. What the heck is up with that? How come we do that? And grandma says, I had a really tiny oven when I was coming up. Oh. I had to make it fit.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect.
So what are you still doing in your life? And I know it's not cooking turkey, but what are you doing that you were given to by somebody who was given to it by somebody else it was given to them? And it's like they had a really good reason 100 years ago, but now not so much.
Exactly.
Things change. Life evolves. It gets better,
And you know what?
I love that story. And it's one of my favorites.
We were given a brain. We were given a heart. Combine the both of them and make your own choices. Do what feels good for you. Okay. And as long as it's legal and, everybody's good, go for it.
Legal, ethical.
What
is that? Not fattening. Yeah. Everything I love is either illegal, immoral, or fattening. Yeah. That's an old diet joke. But yes. So
what feels
good? So yes. So make your own decisions. Go ahead.
Yeah. What feels good for you? And go for it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. But, absolutely. And at the same time, I guess, be willing to be curious about why you're making this decision. Am I making this decision? Is Bill deciding that today, based on what's in front of me right now, this is what looks and feels best for me? Or do I hear my father's voice in my head? Do I hear my grandfather's voice in my head? Do I hear my priest's voice in my head? Mm-hmm. Whatever.
Right.
Where is that? How is that decision being made? Am I making it, or is somebody else making it and I'm just regurgitating their answer?
And when you get the answer, laugh about how, we've been buying into other people's stories, and laugh, say, okay, I had made that choice, laugh about it, turn it around and start living life to what makes you feel good. And because laughter, going back to laughter, really is the best medicine.
Oh, I love that. In the comedy business, we call that a callback. We had that line at the beginning of the show, and now we've referenced it at the end of the show, and it ties everything together real pretty. Good job.
Ooh, I got a big smile on my face for that one. Thank you. I had no idea.
Good job. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the hour, and we were wondering what we were going to talk about. And as always, the hour flew by. So I don't have any homework for you this week. I think I gave homework a couple of weeks ago to find that copy of Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And if you don't pay retail for it, find it at a garage sale, find it at your library bookstore, because there's a million copies out there. Be on the lookout for it. And if you see it, buy it. It's a quick read. You'll read it in 1 or 2 nights, and it is worth every page that you turn. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Last thoughts or ideas there from you, Miss Vicki?
Just had a great time as always, and the laughter was wonderful. That's exactly what I needed, and I'm hope the listeners will benefit from it too.
There you go. Until next week, everybody, this has been The Practical Path, the podcast for personal and spiritual growth with Vicki Wagoner and yours truly, Bill Sklodowski. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody.